What's Better 1V here, and it's over. I've reviewed every single figure from the Infinity Ultron Build-A-Figure wave, and now we have the Build-A-Figure himself, Infinity Ultron, from the Marvel Legends series, of course. And yeah, this is Infinity Ultron as he appeared in the show What If. Infinity Ultron, coincidentally, is the best part of the What If show. He is the one story I was looking forward to the most, and it basically nailed the mark, ignoring the finale. The entire Infinity Ultron episode was phenomenal. Best episode. Even though I really like MCU Ultron, they just went all out with this, and honestly, I'm so happy we finally have a figure of him. And I know this is kind of controversial figure because a lot of people don't like it. I love it. If you saw my top 10 figures of the year, go check that one out, along with the rest of the figures from this wave, since I've reviewed them all. He was like number 5. I really like this guy, and fun fact, before I even knew he was called Infinity Ultron, I tried to think of what his name would be, and I came up with Infinity Ultron, so I like to think that I manifested the name. I shall take my copyright money, Marvel, any day now. But yeah, I love his design. I'm glad they went with a more comic look. It's Ultron with Infinity Stones. How awesome is that? And I would have built him on camera, but the second I got the Build-A-Figure head, I put them together. I was not going to wait. I literally finished building him a month ago. It's just I've been so backed up with life and the reviews that I just didn't get around to him until now, so yeah. And, I don't think anyone cares about the wave anymore, because I think we're on to the Kanji wave, which I actually got a figure from that. I got a lot of stuff to review after this, so don't worry, a lot of nice content, but it's not as much Marvel, more diverse stuff. But yeah, Ultron is my favorite villain of all time. Ever since I was little, I loved Ultron. Since the second I saw that Next Avengers, or Young Avengers, whatever it was, it's the one where, it's got the young ones, and Ultron's, taking over the world, and Iron Man has them, protected in this weird dome thing. Ever since I watched that, I just fell in love with the villain Ultron, and he's still my favorite villain, and I'm glad we got awesome representation in the MCU. But before we get into this BAF, I'm actually going to rank the whole wave, because I said I was going to do that, and because why not, right? He's the Build-A-Figure, why not talk about the wave itself? I personally think this is one of the best Marvel Legends, probably the best Marvel Legends wave I've ever bought. Because, oh my god. Now, I don't complete waves. Most of the time I complete waves, it's usually the more MCU-based ones, because that's what I collect. I collect mostly MCU. And yeah, but even then I don't buy most waves. Usually I cherry pick figures and just buy the characters I like. And if the Build-A-Figure's cool, usually I am like, man, I wish I had that. And then just wait till they re-release it, but with better paint for a cheaper price. But this Disney Plus wave and the first one I completed, and my god, this wave. It had some phenomenal figures. Some of the best Marvel Legends figures I've ever owned. But it had some stinkers, so last place goes to Sharon Carter. We all saw this coming. I bet she's last place for everyone. Because, let's be honest, in a wave full of winners, why would you put her that high? Next, I'd have to go with Miss Marvel. She's a really good figure, but I feel like she's got a lot of lacking areas and just isn't really, doesn't have, that standout factor that a lot of these figures have. I'm trying to put them back without knocking the camera over. Let's see if I can do that. Next is Mr. Knight. I ripped this figure whenever I was reviewing him. Not literally ripped. I mean, I ripped into him. I tore this figure, in. Because it was really disappointing. But even then, I still was able to enjoy the figure, despite his heavy flaws. Still gonna try to get the custom of him done. Is that a train? God dang it. Anyway, love trains. Love living near train tracks. But yeah, I'm probably gonna try to make the custom of him, and hopefully it turns out pretty well. Also gonna try to make some custom clones soon whenever I get some money. But yeah, now we're getting into the peak figures. Next is Kate Bishop, great figure, honestly. There's not much to say. The rest of these figures are it just depends on how great they are. Like, there's nothing really wrong with her. I just prefer the other ones. But yeah, great, phenomenal figure. Next, if you saw my top 10, you already know how the next 3 are gonna go. Next is Hawkeye. Hawkeye's great. This is a great figure. This is the best Hawkeye figure there is. Not that there's that many Hawkeye figures, but this is the best. This is the most ideal Hawkeye figure I could have asked for. Like, because we hardly ever get Hawkeye figures. I think there's only like 1 or 2 other Marvel Legends ones. So I'm glad that one of the few Hawkeye figures we actually got is amazing. It's phenomenal. Love him so much. Second place goes to She-Hulk. Yeah, this... Is that a hair? It's what happens when you live with 3 cats and a dog. But yeah, this figure... Oh, I mean, we all knew it was amazing. Like, I feel like people literally raved about this figure more than they did the show. I've heard way more great reviews of this figure than the show. I mean, it's a great figure. It literally is. I doubt I'll buy a single other She-Hulk figure unless they come up with a better design for her. Because honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this design. I feel like it could be better. Wish they just got rid of the shoulders and brought the legs all the way down to the feet. But yeah, it's a great figure. Just having it standing there looks great. And finally, to no one's surprise, Moon Knight's number 1. God, oh my god, he fell. It's a great figure. It's a phenomenal figure, in fact. I knew the second that I saw the pictures, the 3D renders, in fact, I knew it was going to be a phenomenal figure, and it was. There's one flaw I have with it, besides the inaccuracy on the mask, but I honestly don't care. My biggest flaw is that this curves forward. It kind of gets annoying when you try to hold it like this. I wish it just came down like this side, and that was it. It's my literal only complaint. This figure's phenomenal. And if we get a new one, it'll probably just fix that, and maybe slight detailing. Although, I hope if we get a new Moon Knight design, they go with the more, like, black look, just to make it stand out from this look. Can't really see him, but yeah, that's my ranking of this wave. Let me know your thoughts on the wave, and how you'd rank them, and what your favorites are. Getting these bozos out of here, because we're talking about Infinity Ultron, baby. Infinity Ultron. Let's talk about his one accessory, which, to be honest, he didn't really need that many accessories, although it would have been cool to have a head with the mask up. But he does come with his, javelin? Is that what this is called? You know, for a guy who really likes medieval stuff, I'm blanking on what this weapon is. Isn't it like the jousting spear thingy? God, I love medieval things. I love the medieval time period, and yet I can't remember what this is called. But it's got a lot of nice detailing. It got some gunmetal gray on it. Lacking of focus on it. Got a handle. Got down here with more paint sculpting. It is I really thought I almost broke it. It's very pliable and bendy, which means you're not going to break it, not going to hurt. But also that means that it's going to, like, droop down. Like, I don't know. Insert joke here. I'm pretty sure it can come apart, because, like, hell, this was fitting in a box. But, yeah, but it seems stuck in there. I don't want to stress that thin peg. And you just plop it in his fingies like that. It's hard for him to stand with it, though, so if you want him standing awesome with it, this is the best pose you got. I tried getting him with it up, but it rotates, and then you can't really get it standing. If you get it standing, it just flops away. But you know what? We don't really care about this. We're talking about the main figure, and sculpt-wise, he looks amazing. I just want to bring in 2 Ultrons real quick. These 2. He feels like the middle child color-wise between this guy and this guy. And this is the main reason why I don't have a problem with his height. Because he's taller than him, but shorter than him. And I always felt like he was way too tall for an Ultron. Maybe it's just how he just stands and is sculpted. But I didn't like how big he was. And I'm alright with this guy's height, so him being this small, it's alright. Now, I do feel like he feels slightly too small. I feel like he should be a bit bigger. But still, I'm alright with it. Also, the cape's removable. I'm going to remove it for when we look at him because it takes up a lot of space now. Getting into that head sculpt, what really surprised me is that it's one piece. I really thought, like, the inside of the mouth where, the vision head is would be a separate piece. Because, you know, like, this Ultron, like, the jaw head separate piece. They do that with, like, the Iron Man masks and everything. So I really thought the head underneath would be a separate piece, but it wasn't. It's just, oh, it's tight. It's just painted in there. But it does look really nice. Got the Mind Stone there. Then his, like, red eyes. Love that they gave him, like, the double eye thing. I really like that look. And he has the accurate, like, what are those things? Like the ant things, because he was originally made by Ant-Man. Yeah, and he's got, like, a nice gunmetal gray. It has a little bit of marbling, but honestly, it's not too bad. Here's what his back looks like. And look how huge them shoulders are. They're nice and rubbery. They connect to the chest piece, and if you can see here, it's all, like, connects to the back, too. But that means he has awful shoulder articulation, but honestly, I don't care. Got all the Infinity Stones in there. Ironically, they're all in there the exact same way Thanos collected them. Wait, no, they're not. These two should be flopped. Okay, so forget that sentence. Only 2 of them are in the same way that Thanos collected them. Because the Time Stone and the Mind Stone... Well, he can't have the Mind Stone there because it's Vision. But yeah, it looks great. You got... It's very subtle and it's hard to see, and my camera's not picking it up, but he has faint gold lining. And if I could add something to this figure, I wish the gold would be more prominent, because he's got, like, this nice gold, but, like, it blends in so much with the silver, and it kind of sucks. Yeah, looks great. They got more sculpting there, some weird robot abs. Then get on the back, kind of bland. Get more of that gold, though. Same on the back of the neck. Ultron is confirmed a flatty. My god, he has absolutely no cake, but it's kind of angular, which is weird. Then getting to his arms, they get a little thin, but I think that's just the animation design. You got these weird spikes, which are rubbery, and then more gold. And he doesn't have alternate hands, so he just has one grabbing hand and then an open hand for, you know, when you just gotta slap some sense into your enemies, you know, as Ultron does. And he got his legs. These legs were a pain to put on. Absolute pain. I don't know why it's so hard to put Marvel Legends BAF legs on. It's never a fun ordeal. But yeah, and then you got whatever those are. Whatever these things are. Some nice gold around the knee pads. Nothing really on the back. These weird flat areas. Then come down to his weird feet, which kind of have hints of Iron Man in them. And that's about it. And here's the cape. They added some, like, cell shading in the back, which is nice. And then, like, a nice gold trim, which goes all the way around, even on the edge. And what you do is you put one, like, these spikes on the back, of course, are rubbery. Get one through there, then you gotta bend that spike back to get it in. Just shove it under the shoulders and make sure it tabs in. Make sure it's all under, and then bada bing, bada boom. He stands pretty well with it. Articulation-wise, he's got a hinge really tight, though, so you're not going to get a whole lot. Rotates, kind of bobs. Arm moves out like that far. I wouldn't want to move it any further in fear of breaking it. Moves that far forward, but I wouldn't hold it for too long. Actually moves pretty far back. Bicep rotation, double jointed elbow, hinge in and out, rotates in and out on both hands. They got a diaphragm joint, which, like most diaphragm joints, hardly moves forward, but moves a decent amount back. And it does have a tilt and a rotation, which is really clicky. Trying to fix him up. His legs kick about that far forward, that far back, despite the fact he's got no cake. can do the splits pretty well, actually. Thigh rotation, double jointed knee, but the cape, of course, gets in the way because it's not fabric, but honestly, I don't care. I'd rather have plastic than fabric. Because, like I say, fabric does not look good on the scale whatsoever unless you put a lot of effort into the fabric, and Hasbro doesn't. Of course, that would mean any character with fabric goods would be like $30. Oh, I mean, Marvel Legends are basically $30 now, so that point doesn't make any sense. Then you got a hinge up, hinge down. Pretty sure I said the wrong directions. Oh, I was like, does he have a rotation? No, I just rotated the thigh. And then a rocker. So, articulation's pretty all right. Very hindered in the arms, though, because of the design. I can't really think of how else they would have done it, though, to be honest. Like, what would they have done? The shoulders are way too big to even give, like, any articulation. But nonetheless, I still really enjoy him. I think he looks great. He looks exactly like he does from the show, which I love. But now let's compare him to heights. Bringing in an average Black Series in Transformers Voyager class scale, here we have the Black Series... what's it called again? Camino Trooper. And the Siege Shockwave. I know he's, like I said, like a leader, but he's a Voyager that they charge for a leader. Love both of these guys so much. Fun fact, he's the only one clone figure I have on the clone mold. By the way, there is a Clone Trooper review coming up soon if you enjoy that. And then for our bigger boys scale, Jazzwares Halo and a McFarlane DC, Master Chief and the Riddler. And they're not too much bigger than Ultron, which is nice. And then let's just fire through the wave real quick. Here's some of the gals. She-Hulk doesn't really have anyone else to go with, so She-Hulk would just go by herself. It is kind of annoying that She-Hulk's taller than the Build-A-Figure. Always hate when the Build-A-Figure is smaller than some of the figures in the wave, because then it's like, you know, I want my Build-A-Figures big and chunky, you know, man. Ironically, I only own one big and chunky Build-A-Figure that actually completed, and it's a Build-A-Figure I don't care about. It's the one from the Shang-Chi wave. Here are the Hawkeyes. And finally, the Moon Knights. Now let's get into some Ultron comparisons. First off, here he is next to a Vision. This is White Vision, the only Vision I have, to kind of prove how, like, yeah, realistically this should be how big he is, since it's Vision's body, but with armor on top of it. Although the head should be way bigger, and that's my biggest problem. I feel like the head should be bigger. But, like, yeah, like, realistically, this seems right height-wise, because it's this body, but with, like, an Iron Man suit on it. So, that's how I've, like, rationalized how big he is in my mind. By the way, we're going to see White Vision again. Now, time for a couple Ultrons. Here he is next to that one, like, Mega Pack Ultron. I got him on eBay, though. His thing broke, though. But I really like this design of Ultron. Looks pretty cool. Here he is next to the MCU one. This is the first 10 years one. I do own the Build-A-Figure, though. Both are equally kind of wonky, except at least his arms stay in. I don't know why. The Build-A-Figure, his arm just wouldn't even stay in. That Build-A-Figure was a hot mess. This figure definitely needs an update. But you know what? I'm glad we have at least a really decent and good comic-accurate MCU. Ultron, come on, stand. Oh, don't lean forward. There we go. And finally, here he is next to comic Ultron. And yeah, they look great together. Can kind of build some weird Ultron army. But in conclusion, since he doesn't have a box, why isn't the staff going in his hands? There we go. Is he worth the entire wave. 100%. Number 1, the wave itself, even if the Build-A-Figure sucked, is pretty much all worth buying, except for like 1 or 2 of them. They're all pretty great. And with some adjustments to the Mr. Knight, you can make him a phenomenal figure. And yeah, and personally, in my opinion, I actually really like this Build-A-Figure. I think he's great. Like I said, I think most people's complaints are with the height, and then they're just like, he's the worst Build-A-Figure of the year, and stuff like that. And I was like, I think that's being a bit too harsh. He's a great Build-A-Figure. One of the best Build-A-Figures I've ever built. To be fair, there's like 3 others it's going against. But it's going against another Ultron. This is miles better than that. And honestly, yeah, I wish he was a bit bigger. Would have been cool. And I think most people complain because when you put him next to the Watcher Build-A-Figure, he's way smaller when they're like kind of the same height. But I think that's kind of just a problem of the show. They might have just goofed his height a lot. Because he did change height in the show. At one point, he ate a planet. That's not possible to do at this height. So yeah, his height's kind of questionable. But still, yeah, it would have been cool to have one that has a flipped up mask, but honestly, I'd never use that head, because every time that mask went up in the show, I got angry. But yeah, honestly, love that I actually have an Infinity Ultron, because like, a year ago, well, I don't know about a year ago, but like, when that season dropped and that finale dropped, or the Infinity Ultron episode dropped, I was like, God, I wish I could get an Infinity Ultron figure. And when that weird fake leaked fake wave dropped, and this was the supposed Build-A-Figure, I was like, oh my god, I hope this is real. Thank god that wave wasn't the actual wave, because that leak wave that was completely fake was horrific. But I finally have him. He's great. I love him. I definitely think he's worth it. But again, it's up to you. You know, I'm biased because I love Ultron. I love this design of Ultron. And I personally am not mad about the height. So yeah, that's about it. Go check out my Instagram, MoonKnightXO. Like, subscribe. Check out my previous reviews. We've reviewed that entire wave. And a bunch of other stuff. We got a lot of reviews. Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel. Ant-Man's coming out soon. If they ever reveal and release a wave from that movie, I will buy them all and review it, hoping MODOK's the Build-A-Figure or a separate figure. I just hope we get MODOK in general. And yeah, hopefully you have a delicious, delectable, divine day. And can we do the peace out? Doesn't sound like he's doing peace. Doesn't look like he's doing peace out. Sounds like he's about to say, holla. I don't know. Like most of these videos, I just need to end it before I go insane. Goodbye.